All right. Testing. All right. That's good. All right, guys, it's been a while since I've done one of these, so bear with me. Yay, 9 viewers already. All right, guys, so today we are here to discuss the David Thorne case. You know, I know that there's been precious little going on with the Stephen Avery case. I hope that my feed is not too stilting for you today. I moved since the last time that I did one of these, and my internet service hopefully is much better. So yeah, let's see. I've got 11 viewers so far. No questions just yet, kids. So since there's no questions, let's light a smoke and get down to business, shall we? Is there nothing going on? Let's see. Ah, if I recall correctly. Okay. Really? 16 viewers? Hold on. Maybe it's the nut behind the wheel. Which it more than likely is. You guys remember. So just bear with me, would you, kids? Okay. So let's see here. All right, that looks good. I have to minimize this. Sorry, guys. Like I said, it's been a while since the last time I've done this. So, okay. Hey, Drafty. How you doing, hon? Rockin' Johnny, love your personality and the great work that you're doing on these cases. It's people like you that make a real difference in life. Keep it up. Oh, thank you, Johnny. I really appreciate that. It's been a rough couple of months, man. Yes, today I'm wearing my earpiece because I've noticed in the last couple of videos, my audio has been shit. So I'm hoping that this will make the difference in you people being able to hear me. Let's see, Jeanette. Good morning, Casey from Connecticut. Hi, Jeanette. Hi, Sarah. Hi from Wisconsin. Garrett, any new updates on the David Thorne case? Okay, so thank you, Garrett, for asking. With regards to the David Thorne case, here's what's going on. And if you hear Finding Nemo in the background, I'm sorry. Most of my kids are up at their grandmother's for the break. But my 2-year-old is home. And this is the only movie that shuts him up. So what's going on with the David Thorne case right now is surprisingly nothing. Not a fucking thing. And this angers me. This angers me on so many levels. What we need to get something rolling with the David Thorne case is we need DNA testing. But in order to secure DNA testing, we need a lawyer. And unfortunately, right now, funds are extremely tight for David and his wife. So we do have a PayPal account set up for his defense fund. We need an attorney in order to really get this started. So that's pretty much, we're kind of at a standstill at the moment, which is why I'm doing these videos. This is why we set up the website. This is why everything. Drafty, hi from Dublin. Yay, Dublin, my peeps. Carrie, hey, Carrie. Nice to have you in here, honey. Hi from Binghamton, New York. Feather Jean, any new info on the Ketty case? I'll touch on the Ketty case real quick. They did find some new evidence on that, but we all know who fucking did it. It was Marty Smart and that Bo jackass. Drafty, I've been following the Avery case. I was just wondering if you could do a quick little recap. Well, I suppose it could. There's really not a whole fuck of a lot going on with the Avery case right at the moment. I'm sorry to say, I really wish there was more happening. Whew, what happened here? Why did that go away? Okay. There's really not much going on with the Avery case at the moment. Yeah, I wish there was. I wish that there was more happening. But from what I understand, Schimmel has been recently discovered to have some dirty dealings. I just saw that yesterday or the day before or something. I was at my mom's house. It was on my phone. And something's going on with Schimmel, but it has nothing to do with the Avery case. It's actually a completely different, separate fucking issue. But it kind of illustrates how dirty he is. So that's what I got right now. All right, Sarah, Finding Nemo is the shit. It is. I love that movie. The funny thing is that the turtle crush reminds me of my brother David, and I was just sitting here this morning thinking, God damn it, him and his daughters had a perfect opportunity to go as Crush and Squirt for Halloween one year, and now he's got 2 daughters, and damn it. Let's see, Sarah, me too. These ass clowns in the judicial system here are dirty. They are, and you know, it's so funny. I actually got a comment on one of my videos the other day about how I seem pretty dumb and everybody knows criminals are liars, and I'm going, really? Really? That's your answer? Good job, Cupcake. Bravo. Criminals are liars. Well, shit, stop the presses. Drafty, sorry, I meant a little recap of David Thorne because I have no clue about his situation. Okay, David Thorne. This is good. Carrie, since you're, okay, guys, first of all, everybody say hello to Carrie. Carrie is one of our most important, most integral team members. This woman is amazing. She keeps us motivated. She pulls, you know, she's so creative and she's so amazing, and I love her to death. So everybody say hi to Carrie. Carrie, if you could possibly go and get the website link and post it up in the chat for me, that would be really helpful. So Drafty, to answer your question, David Thorne. Okay, in the spring of 1999. David Thorne was arrested for conspiracy to commit murder for hire. And why the fuck am I talking like a Valley girl? Jesus, crotch on fire. All right, so April 1st of 1999 in Alliance, Ohio, a young single mother of 5 children was found in her home with her throat slit. 4 of her children were in the home with her. 3 of them were locked up in a back bedroom. 1 was roaming the house. As it turns out, and I hate to say this because I do not like to speak ill of the dead, but, and Yvonne has some grown children here. Yvonne was a known prostitute. So already she's a high-risk victim. A lot of her client list involved police officers from Alliance, Ohio. For whatever reason, don't mind him. For whatever reason, from the outset, APD focused in on David Thorne. David Thorne knew Yvonne Lane. They were ex-partners, ex-people, but they had a son together. And they were actually getting along really, really well, but for whatever reason, they focused in on David Thorne. So that's a brief recap. Carrie will leave the link down below for you guys so you can go to the website and really check things out. Garrett, I have discovered something on the Avery case that was discovered. There apparently was a key made to the RAV4 that was Teresa Hallbox, but it was not mentioned who made the key. I have no idea, Garrett. Do me a favor, honey, and send me an email, mamaphoenix@outlook.com, and we'll check that out. Drafty, wow, it happened the day I was born. You know, so you're 17? Trippy. Getting text messages y todo. yeah, so just to keep going, when Alliance PD could not figure out a way to tie David Thorne to the case because he had a rock solid fucking alibi, what the fuck is going on here? They brought in Joe Wilkes, and Joe Wilkes was an associate of David Thorne's, and he confessed that he killed Yvonne and that David hired him to do it. Here's the thing though, kids. Joe Wilkes has an IQ of 70. He was 18 years old at the time. He was a drifter, he was a drug addict, and he was a known criminal. So there's a lot of shit coming into play here. The only evidence that David Thorne had anything to do with this case is Joe Wilkes. Pretty much, that's it. There is, and even Joe Wilkes' confession is completely implausible. There is no physical evidence that bears up with Joe Wilkes' statement at all. At all. It's just, it's horseshit. It's what it is. It's complete horseshit. So that's what I got on that. Now, I do keep it in contact with David. I write to him frequently, and he writes back occasionally. So, yeah, there's that. And he's a great guy. He's a really sweet guy. He, you know, him and his wife are amazing people. And, yeah, we really need to help them, guys. We need to get this going. Sarah, what's with dirty cops and people with low IQ? Dirty cops use people with low IQs because they know they can get away with it, because who's going to fight them? Marissa, who's representing Thorne now, and are they working on appeals, or has he exhausted everything? No one is representing Thorne right now, unfortunately, Marissa. They simply just do not have the funds, and he has exhausted all of his appeals, hence the need for new evidence. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm sorry, I get really excited. Here's the thing. In the state of Ohio, there is a law in the books. So you're going to see my animals and probably my son running around here. So, guys, in the state of Ohio, there is a law in the books that states that if there's a confession, no DNA testing needs to be done on the evidence. So no DNA testing has ever been done. The only testing that was ever done on any of the blood was blood typing. That's it. Mind you, this is in 1999. This isn't like back in the 70s before there was DNA testing. This was in 1999. And Joe Wilkes didn't confess to the murder for 3 fucking months. My issue is, if he didn't confess for 3 months, why was the testing not at least ordered? You see? Lissa. Hi, Lissa. Welcome. Garrett, I also found something very suspicious about the key that was found in Avery's trailer. Okay, Garrett. Today we're talking about David Thorne pretty much exclusively. So if you could email me, that would be great, because I really want to stay on task. Stacy, has Thorne contacted the Ohio Innocence Project to obtain representation? Yes, he has, and been rejected 3 times. On the website, you will find, and if you can't get it here, you can go to my Facebook page, Casey Martinez, aka Mama Phoenix. And the website for David Thorne is there, for the David Thorne Project is there. On the website under updates is the 3rd rejection letter. Oh my God. Lissa, dirty cops target people with lower IQs because they can get away with it. Exactly. Exactly. That's pretty much why they do it. Drafty, that's actually a law. What the fuck? Yes, it is. Can you believe that shit? Oh my God. Hippie peace chick. Hey, darling. Is Brendan going to get out? I wish I could tell you, you know, I know he's going to get out. Just the question is of when. That's pretty much the question at this point. You find your cars, bud? Gesundheit. Did tiny sneeze. Oh, there goes a midget. Candy, hi from Saudi Daisy, Tennessee. There's a town in Tennessee called Saudi Daisy. Is it as small as it sounds? Now, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't. I love Tennessee. I've actually traveled through there quite a bit, and I love it. It's fucking gorgeous. Feather Jean, how do you choose the cases you look into? A friend of mine disappeared May 22nd, 1989. I kind of don't even really choose the cases that I look into. They kind of just choose me, if you know what I mean. With the Avery case, part of the reason why I started covering the Avery case is when I started watching the documentary, I was noticing shit that I knew the general population wouldn't notice. And I felt the need to make videos on it to point out the really dirty dealings. And as for the David Thorne case, that came to me from a fan. A fan sent me over the website, said, hey, take a look at this. And the second that I started reading through the information on the website, I was just appalled. So if you want to send me something on your friend's disappearance, my email address is mamaphoenix@outlook.com. Hold on, guys. I got to clean the glasses. They're just wrong. Random baby noises. Carrie, it's about David today, peoples. Thanks, Carrie. Candy Scoop, kind of small, 20 minutes from Chattanooga. I love Chattanooga. I had some of the best barbecue of my life in Chattanooga. Elizabeth, bless you. And most of them aren't even home today. Marissa, Leather Jean, have you talked to Lord and Arts? He does a great job covering missing people. Thank you, Marissa. That's handy information to know. Carrie, can you notate that so that we can refer people over to Lord and Arts, please? Garrett, has there been any attempt to do any DNA testing on the David Thorne evidence as of yet? There has been no attempt. Up until this point, it's been mainly appeals. This is why we need an attorney, and this is why we need to get that DNA testing started. Lisabel, Saudi Daisy, yes, I had a friend that lived there. I had the same reaction as you did. So, you know, the funny thing, if any of you have ever seen the Danny DeVito movie, Renaissance Man, Mark Wahlberg is in it, and he tells him that he's from Wallacoochee, Georgia, and he tells him, is that as small as it sounds? And Mark Wahlberg tells him, no, sir. Here's the funny thing. I actually drove through Wallacoochee, Georgia when I was living in Florida. I drove through there, and bullshit, Mark Wahlberg. It is exactly as small as it sounds. More text messages. Yay! It's my service provider saying thank you for paying your bill. Garrett, what would stop them from tampering with it? You know, that's the thing, though, Garrett, is from the outset that evidence was all tampered with. It was contaminated like a motherfucker from the word go. To give you an idea of how bad the tampering was, the first responders arrived on the scene. They called in the sheriff, the chief of police, who was on a date. He was on a date. And did he stop his date? Did he say, you know, look, sweetie, I'm really having a good time, but I have a case that I need to go do? No, he took his date with him to the crime scene and had his date walking around the crime scene with this dead girl there. Just saying. Jay Bergstrom, 87, you're awesome, mama. Love you. Love you too, darling. Mwah. Candy, it used to be Saudi as one city and Daisy as one, joined in the 60s to be Saudi Daisy. So it is as small as it sounds. It's so small that they had to join them up. That's pretty bad. Sarah, I don't understand how the police got away with putting David away. The blood splatters and how the place was ransacked made zero sense. Why is the Innocence Project denying him? Well, at first they denied him because Joe confessed. The thing is that Joe recanted his confession in 2001, and I actually have a copy of that recantation on the website. Then they denied him due to the pants that they supposedly found of Joe's, which, by the way, had no blood on them, none. And then the third time, they listed the contaminated crime scene as one of the reasons why they can't represent him. Huh? So yeah, go to the website, check it out. I've got the third rejection letter up on the website so you can take a look. But it is bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And I have been tweeting the shit out of the Ohio Innocence Project, trying to get them to understand, hey, this is the case that you need to fucking take, because this is the one where everybody screwed the pooch. Marissa, the date is horrible. It's like, want to see a real life horror movie. Right? Of all fucking days, April Fool's Day? I doubt that Wes Craven could have written that better. Garrett, weird girl. Yes, I am. Drafty, such a gentleman. At least it's a date she'll never forget. He must have taken a page out of Kratz's book. I'm just saying. Carrie, bear with, working off my phone. You're fine, Care. Don't even trip. Tina's videos. Hi, Casey. I love you. I love how you tell it like it is and are so real, but I don't know much about this case. I follow Stephen Avery, so I just wanted to tell you you're great. Oh, thank you, Tina. Well, I've been covering this case. I haven't been doing as many videos as I would like. I'm going to school now, so little baby. Hi, did you find a Lightning McQueen? Yes, you did. Oh, you took his sticker off. Okay. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when you've got babies. You have to fix their toys and whatnot. You tore the decal off of his Lightning McQueen. Here you go, sweetie. Hey, there you go. This case, I haven't been doing as many videos as I would like. I've been in school. I'm on break right now, hence, my pushing of this case, my setting up of the website. My team is amazing. We've got Jan, who converts the majority of my files. We've got Tam. We've got Sue. We've got Carrie. I'm really very lucky in the team that I've got working on this case with me. So thank you, guys. Mwah. Drafty. Oh yeah, by the way, congrats with the exam results the other week. Right? I'm so proud of myself. I am horrible at math, so for me to get a C in algebra is a big deal to me. Candy, when will you finish school and what degree? I'm probably going to finish school in 2019, and I'm going for my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I'm finishing up my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I have an associate's degree right now. And I'm finishing up my bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a focus on crime and criminal behavior and a minor in digital forensic technology. After that, I'll be heading off to law school. I have a Hannah Banana right here. So up there she is. So this is Hannah Banana, the bandana bandit, and she's our pit bull. And yeah, she's just like, give me lovies, give me lovies. Rock and Johnny, so DNA testing could prove his innocence. How expensive is testing? I haven't even really looked into it, but considering the amount of evidence that would need to be tested, if only just to slam dunk this shit, like my layup, I played once upon a time. Okay, Hannah, calm down. Hannah, the crime-fighting dog. Considering the amount of evidence that there is that should be tested, I'd say that it's, gonna be quite a chunk of change. I'm just saying. And of course we'd have to find a fucking DNA lab that's reputable, because I don't trust shit when it comes to state labs anymore. Catherine, the prosecution never told the defense about the witness that saw the cop at the crime scene. No, they didn't. And there's a lot of stuff that they didn't tell them. For example, that there was a witness that saw two separate men, one going in the night before the body was discovered and one leaving the property the morning the body was discovered, and yet this was never brought up in court. Marissa, C is amazing and hurts my brain to even think of ever getting one in math. Right? And it was in algebra. Candy Scoops, what type of job would you be interested in? I am going to be getting my law degree, and then I'll be focusing my law practice on wrongful conviction, child advocacy, and veteran advocacy law. Libby, thank you. I'm so proud of myself. Tiger, hey, Will, how you doing? Mwah. Get off of me. Not every kiss is for you. Hey, Casey, I'm making it through the site on David now. Wow, the bullshit is just beyond me. Right. I still think that the idea brought to you brings up reasonable doubt. You do make a good point. Well, Will pointed out that during the time frame of the murder, there was actually a serial killer that was working around the Ohio area at the time. So I'm actually going to be looking into that a little bit closer, if only to throw some reasonable doubt. And this specific serial killer targeted prostitutes. So who knows? Hannah says hi to you, Lissa. Nicole, hi, Casey. Watching you in Scotland, having a few Jack D's and enjoying watching yourself. You know, I used to have a mug that my husband had bought me for Christmas last year that was Celtic, because I love anything Celtic. Hannah. And it says herself on it, but my surrogate son broke it. Damn it. I missed that mug. I love that mug. But this is my mug. Like it? Good to the last plot. This is what happens when you compete in NaNoWriMo every fucking year. How much you bad self. Let's see. Marissa, I think the issue with DNA isn't the cost of the actual test, but since we can order DNA tests on ourselves, etc., but finding a judge willing to release the evidence for testing would be a bitch. That's pretty much it right there, Marissa, and that's why we need a lawyer. So this is why I'm doing this live chat, is I'm trying to spread the information out there, because the farther we get David's name and his case out there, the better for everybody. Tina, when are you going to do a live for Steve Avery so I can tune in? I'll probably do a live in the next couple of weeks on Stephen Avery. It's just that right now, Stephen Avery, there's really not a whole lot of moving and shaking going on in the case. So there's not a whole lot of new evidence to discuss until the new evidence is brought out. You see what I'm saying? It's, you know, Kathleen's got him covered. David, the reason why I'm pushing on David right now is he doesn't have an attorney. He doesn't have anybody. Amazing wife, Sue, and Team David Thorne. So we're doing what we can for him at the moment. Garrett, was it discovered who that serial killer was, and was he captured or killed? Will has that information. Will, can you answer Garrett's question for me, please? Nicole, yeah, I've watched the documentary about the case, but I haven't been able to find much info online. I rely on Casey for info. I do my best. I actually have, Nicola, I have a website up for the case file that we've been adding information to, because it's a big fucking case file. So I have my team converting everything to PDFs, and then as they convert things to PDFs, I put it up on the website. You can find the website on my Facebook fan page. Just search Casey Martinez, aka Mama Phoenix, and it'll bring it right up. Drafty, did the serial killer around Ohio have a certain signature, and was it in any way similar to the woman who was killed? That's the thing, is the serial killer that was operating in Ohio at the time didn't have an MO. The only MO that the serial killer had was his victimology, and that was prostitutes. Other than that, his method of death varied so wildly as to border on the ridiculous. Libby, do you know why David doesn't have an attorney? Yes, it's called money. He simply cannot afford an attorney right now. That's pretty much it. That's the only reason why he does not have a lawyer. Catherine, have you looked into the connection of Ed Edwards and Stephen Avery in the West Memphis 3? It's bizarre but interesting. I kind of have, but here's the thing with Edward Wayne Edwards. That to me is the lazy man's method of explaining things. With the Stephen Avery case, with Teresa Hallbach, when a young woman dies, it's almost invariably a person close to her, usually an ex or a current partner. When it's children, as it was in the case of West Memphis 3, it's almost invariably a parent or a step parent. In this case, oh, okay. Yes, I have Dropkick Murphys as my fucking ringtone. When it's a child, it's almost invariably a parent or a step parent. In this case, I believe it was Terry Hobbs. The evidence all points to Terry Hobbs. For the love of taste, man. Let's see. Marissa, is it really called The Murder Book, and what sicko decided to call it that? That alone is so degrading to both victim and Thorne. You'd be surprised. A lot of police precincts will call the investigative report The Murder Book, but it's supposed to be an inside sort of thing. But yes, it was the police that called it The Murder Book, and I just happened to get the file, and it was labeled Murder Book. That's nice and insensitive. Thanks, guys. Marissa, I feel like if Edward Wayne Edwards had done all those murders, then no one would have been murdered since he died. I see him as a man who wanted attention he didn't deserve. That's pretty much my thing. I mean, I don't do conspiracy theories. And Edward Wayne Edwards, to me, is it's the lazy way of explaining things. I follow the evidence. Now, if the evidence takes me towards Edward Wayne Edwards, so be it. But so far, that's not where the evidence in any of the cases that I've looked into has taken me. It's always taken me to somebody that is involved with the victim. Debbie, Terry Hobbs is the killer of the West Memphis Three. I believe that. I believe that totally. And that son of a bitch, oh, his comeuppance is going to be beautiful. Jason, Casey, can we bring in the members of Pantera to testify for the very first pro case? If I ever meet Bill Anselmo, I am punching him in the throat, or I'm giving him a laxative because his vocals waffle between diarrhea and constipation. I'm just saying. Drafty, couldn't David be appointed an attorney for free since he can't afford one? But I guess they would be on the side of the state instead of David. That's pretty much it. I mean, after the fucking shit show that happened with Brendan, I don't trust public defenders. I do not trust public defenders at all. And most public defenders are great people. They really believe in their cause. But in this case, I don't believe that a public defender is appropriate. That's just my thing. Marissa, David is out of appeal, so he no longer qualifies. Exactly. Stephen. Hey, Stephen. Kath, Will, the serial killer was active in 3 states. He was killed by a victim with his own gun. His name is Neil Falls. So there you go, Garrett. That's what we got. So Neil Falls is the serial killer that was operating in Ohio at the time of the murder in the 3-state area. And yeah, he's dead now. So that's fun. Catherine, Terry Hobbs has serious issues. It was just an interesting idea. I know, and you know, I don't disqualify ideas. It's just that 9 times out of 10, the evidence takes me to people that the victim knew. And, you know, it's police work. Apparently Alliance PD and, you know, the West Memphis Police Department and Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department really need to learn how to do stuff. Debbie giggles with, I do my best, damn it. Tiger, there's a documentary called Vanishing Women, or you can look it up by Chillicothe Murders. I do want to look that up. It's just I've been really busy lately. You know, I got my new textbooks in, and I like to get at least 2 weeks worth of reading done before the semester starts. I'm kind of a perfectionist that way. Jason, Stephen John has 2 names. You know what, dude? Quit. You're besting my balls. Quit besting my balls. Garrett, how can Brandon's old public defender still be a lawyer after it was proven he was working for that worthless bag of shit, Ken Kraft? I don't know, to be quite honest. That's a case for the OLR, the Office of Lawyer Regulation, and why they did not disbar him, I will never know. But it's up to them. It's an ethics infraction, true, but I'm sorry, I'm hearing a cat. I don't know what the hell's going on. Nicola, have you done any more research into the Ketty murders? I have done some research into it, but recently a hammer was found with DNA on it. I think they're testing that right now. Although, to be quite honest, I mean, we all know that Marty Smart and fucking Bo Asshole did the fucking thing. I love you too, Jason. Aisling of 81, unrelated, but your hair is pretty with the bangs. Oh, thank you, Aisling. Check this shit out. Look at the amount of gray I've got going on here. You know, this haircut really emphasized to me how much gray hair I've got going on, and to be quite honest, I am totally fine with that. Stephen, 3, my middle name's Philip. I'm just gonna sound like an angry mom when I address you, Stephen. So what? It's like Stephen Philip John. Stephen Philip John, get in here and clean your room. Oh, we have a lag in the questions. I've never had that happen before. Peeps. Okay, so to give you a little bit of an idea. Yeah, Garrett, they really do. And I have 7. When you bring in my bonus daughter, although unfortunately she lives in Florida with her mother, but she's such a sweet kid. She's so amazing. But with the 6 that live with us full time, and then the 3 animals. Jason, is there a possibility that Pantera? No. Steven, don't you sound like my mother. I sound like everybody's mother. I think that's why everybody loves to call me mama. Nicola, that is disgusting. It doesn't matter how this girl lived her life. It was her life. The fact that she was treated so badly in her death makes me so angry. Dude, it's even worse than that. I've never published the picture, and I probably never will, just out of respect for Yvonne and her children. But there is a picture where they rolled her over at the crime scene and they held her up by her hair to take a picture of her. The fuck? Garrett, and you're still saying, well, it's this. It's the does everything for me. Now my phone is get the salt. Saying hi to my pit. Come on. I want to solve the crime. Let me solve the crime. Okay, I love you too. Crime at Nitley. We think she's pregnant. I'm not entirely sure if she is or not, but I think she's pregnant. So, Marissa, did her kids witness anything? And if so, were they old enough to ever make a statement or have an opinion? 3 of the children were locked in a back bedroom. One of them was roaming the house when her mother found her body. The one who was roaming the house was 5 years old, but he was autistic. So he really couldn't say much. Now, here's the really creepy thing, guys. You want to know the really creepy thing about this? Get down. The really creepy thing is the 5-year-old autistic boy, Vincent, when he was found clean, dressed, and his shoes were tied. He was incapable of any of these things. The fuck? Do you know what that means? That means that it is very possible that the killer stayed on site until Yvonne's mother showed up. Garrett, I'm still confused why they decided to focus on David and no other possible suspects. I think because the police believed that it was possible that one of their own did it. It went out. I need a Zippo. I believe that the police believed that one of their own could have done it. She did have an issue with a police officer a few months before this, and they were protecting their own. I believe that that's why they focused in on David. Nicola, no, the kids were very young at the time. Catherine, that means somebody knew her. Ding! Nicola, I believe the eldest were questioned by psychologists. I think so. I could be wrong on that. I do know that the Vincent, the 5-year-old, was questioned, but they didn't take what he said very seriously. Marissa, who was their dad? Is it possible that a paternal figure locked the kid away and kept the one tidy while waiting? Well, here's the thing. Yvonne was known to lock the children in the back bedroom when she was entertaining company, to be polite about it. So that was nothing new. However, nobody's really sure exactly who was the father of all the kids, because I believe that 3 of them were recognized by her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Eric Cameron. One was confirmed David's, and the youngest, there's no definitive proof on who his father is. They have an idea of who it is, but there's no definitive proof on who it is. Drafty, so then the killer was close to the family, because why else wait and clean the child? Anyone else would get out of there as soon as possible. That's what I said. And the funny thing is that there's actually a witness who saw somebody leaving the house the morning the body was discovered with a trash bag, and that lead was never followed up by the police. Carrie, I think Stacy is in the Facebook group trying to get through. Would you boogie on over there and tell her how to get here? Garrett, was that police officer involved in the collection of any of that evidence? No, he was actually removed from the police force before the murder happened. His name is Quentin Artis, and he actually sexually harassed Yvonne at the time that she had any dealings with him. It's really weird. Marissa, my kids were 3 years old and 9 months when I was almost killed, but recall it and were never told. Interesting. Children, this is the thing about childhood memory. Generally, children don't remember anything until they start going to school, because that's when you're forced to learn how to remember things. However, if there is a traumatic event earlier than that in your life, you will remember it. I myself, my first memory is from when I was 3 years old and we were in a wicked car accident where my brother actually sustained head injuries that rendered him epileptic for the rest of his life. And my first memory, the first memory I'm ever able to recall, is waking up and seeing my mother slumped over the steering wheel and the windshield covered in blood and screaming, "Mom, I'm okay, I'm okay." That was an extremely traumatic event. That's the first memory that I'm able to recall. So children, when they do experience trauma, will generally remember that no matter how old they are. Catherine, according to local newscasts and her own mother, she was using sex in exchange for money and information. Her mom said that. She did. And actually, Yvonne was known to blackmail married men. She'd sleep with them, and then she'd call them and say, "Hey, I'm pregnant. You can either pay for the abortion or I can tell your wife." Even if she wasn't pregnant. Stephen, I know I'm a bit late to the party. How are you going to get past this type of corruption? I got a big mouth and I'm loud, baby. That's how. Nicola, Thorne was one of their dads. Yes, Thorne was the father of her then 2-year-old son. Garrett, was that a theory on how the 5-year-old was kept so neat? Could the father of that child be the killer? It is possible, I suppose, but I believe that Eric Cameron is the father of that child, and he was in prison at the time. Stacy, there you are, Stacy. Nice to see you, baby. Drafty, leaving the day of the killing with a trash bag because that's not suspicious at all. Right. These cops, though, like, what the fuck, of all leads to follow up on, and they never did. They never followed up on that lead. Candy, where's Joseph Wilkes now? Free in jail. He's still in prison. And actually, Joe is one of my least favorite people because he feels the need to change his story frequently. There's something very wrong going on with Joe. Okay, so now that we have a bit of a lag in the questions. Whoa, chill out, dude. It's all right. That was his screech owl impression. If you're lucky, you'll get to hear his pterodactyl impression. So with the wound, if you look at the evidence pictures, which are on the website, you will see in front of the sliding glass door, and I point over here because that's where my sliding glass door is, there is arterial spray. That only happens at the moment of the throat being cut. So the story of Joe of cutting her throat on the couch while seated next to her does not play out. That wound had to come from Yvonne standing in front of the sliding glass window, her head being pulled back and being slit. So that's my theory. That's what I'm working on right now. Garrett, where was David at the time and was there an alibi? He was at work. That's why they involved Joe Welts. He was at work and he had an airtight fucking alibi. Catherine, he heard there was a lack in the questions. Apparently he did. He was like, I'm going to make noise now. So on top of that, there were puppies. And the mama dog was tied to a tree in the yard. Yeah, that's nobody that the fucking family knew. Not at all. Marissa, was her mom ever a suspect? I believe you said in a vid that it had to be someone taller, but a woman easily could have snapped and caused that trauma. Sat all night, cleaned up the kids, and called 911. It is possible, I suppose. I mean, her parents are fucking sketch as shit anyway, to be quite honest. Her dad, it is rumored around the town that he was inappropriate with his daughters. I'm just going to say that. And Yvonne actually was so disturbed by his behavior that she installed a video camera on top of her fridge to catch him in the act. He would come over and just sit in his underwear and smoke cigarettes around her fucking kids, which is just weird to me. Who the fuck goes to their grown daughter's house and just strips down and sits there smoking? I mean, ew, Dad, put some fucking pants on. Ugh. So I suppose it could be possible. Nicola, I've looked into Edwards. He's not connected to the West Memphis 3 or Avery. I don't think so either. To be quite honest, when people bring up Edward Wayne Edwards, I kind of roll my eyes because I'm like, oh God, this shit again. Because the evidence doesn't take me in that direction. If there's any evidence that would take me in that direction, I'm happy to hear it, but I haven't seen any. And I've been all through those case files. Stacy, I can't get over that the clothes had no body fluid on it. I mean, come on, bodies let loose when dead and nothing on the clothes. Exactly. That's another weird thing there, kids, is when a person dies, their body evacuates. And there was no urine, there was no fecal matter, there was nothing on Yvonne's clothes but blood. What? No. No. And not only that, see, I suppose the case could be made that like it was such a shock that everything just clenched up and retained, except that in the autopsy report, it states that her bowels and her bladder were completely empty. So she did evacuate, just it's nowhere to be found, which I call bullshit. Marissa, I mean, do that to get mine back. Just kidding. Behave. Catherine, I know the right side of the cut was lower than the left, but were they able to determine if the killer was left or right-handed? The cut went from left to right, which indicates that the killer was right-handed, and it started 2 inches below the left ear and extended all the way across. Oop, earpiece falling out. Extended all the way across and down at about a 1.5 inch angle below. So that to me would indicate that the killer is shorter, because if you're taller than your victim, you're going to pull up. If you're shorter than your victim, you're going to pull down from the effort of having to cut through there. The cut was completely clean. There were no hesitation marks whatsoever, which bespeaks of a decent amount of upper body strength. And in addition to that, Yvonne Lane was only 5'1". So just look for a midget. Garrett, was that camera in her house at the time of the murder? Yes, it was. And the tapes were collected by the police, never published out in the investigative report. Nicola, Casey, you should rep David. I would love to represent David. Unfortunately, I don't have a law license, but I have promised, I have vowed on sacred oath to Sue and David that if he is not out by the time I do get my license, I will represent them free of charge. Stephen, that means she was washed. Look at the evidence pictures. Look at the evidence pictures. I swear to God, I think she was redressed. Marissa, her being cleaned and the child being cleaned just makes me think someone who is parental towards her did it. That's what I think. And if you look at the positioning of the body, it bespeaks of remorse. Jason, no tossing midgets. I'm just saying, no tossing midgets. Catherine, or teenager. That's slightly possible, but I doubt it. Now, David Thorne had a girlfriend at the time who was super fucking jealous of Yvonne. Her name is Amy Davis. And the thing about Amy Davis is that she refused to talk to police, and they never pushed questioning her. Not only that, but at one point she was talking to David's sister, and she asked David's sister, do you know how much it costs to have someone bumped off? And that's called a lead, APD. Garrett, what is the website? Go to my Facebook page, Garrett. It's, sorry. Oops. Go to my Facebook page. Casey Martinez, aka Mama Phoenix, and I've got the website on there. Let's see. No fucking your life, Jason. Steven, there would have been set everywhere. That was a little confusing. Shit everywhere. Yeah, exactly. And there wasn't. There was not a single bit. Nicola, yeah, Terry Hobbs is guilty. I think so too. Nicola, you look birthday chick. Okay, my birthday is on Sunday, but I don't know what that has to do with anything. Stacy, Davis is guilty 100%. I don't know if Amy did it herself or if she had somebody do it, but either way, I think she might be involved. Nicola, you look gorgeous. Oh, okay, thank you. I was like, how did you know when my birthday is? Are you psychic? Who the fuck is calling me now? It's my mother. Hold on, kids. Hello? I'm doing a live feed. Can I call you later? Bye. Sorry, guys. Love my mama to death, but if I didn't answer and tell her that I was doing a live feed, she would have just kept calling. Debbie, just joining in. Hi, Casey. You rock. Love your videos. Hi, Debbie. Welcome. Stacey, she was in on it. I believe she was, to be quite honest. Thanks, Stacy. It's Dropkick Murphys going down to Boston, or coming up to Boston. And yeah, I'm a big Murphs fan. I alternate between the Dropkick Murphys and the Boston legal theme song because I love that show. I absolutely love that show, and I'm really pissed off that they canceled it. Fuckers. Now, there were two types of cigarette butts found at the scene. There were Marlboro Reds, and those are notated in the evidence report. The funny thing is, though, is that the other brand of cigarettes was never commented on anywhere in the evidence report, ever, which is weird. And if you look at the evidence pictures, you'll actually see that there was an ashtray on the table and then a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. So it's almost like she was sitting down visiting with the person prior to. It's really weird. Oh, Stacey, I'm so jealous. I am so fucking jealous that you get to go see the Mervs. Oh, man. I would love to. I would love to. Them and Gaelic Storm. Gaelic Storm actually comes through Albuquerque quite a bit. So I'm hoping to catch them at Celtic Fest this year. Marissa, call me crazy, but if I was a jealous psycho killer, I wouldn't spend any time cleaning the Vic I just maimed up. So in my opinion, her mom, dad had to have cleaned up before calling 911, trying not to degrade her more. That's a possibility. And if not her, if they didn't have any concern for her, they had concern for the children. And her in-laws, Eric Cameron's parents, were also known to be like, what the fuck? Just really weird. See, this is why I did a live feed on this case, is so that I could answer your questions in real time and you guys could get a better sense of what's going on. Stacy, if she was a hooker, could have been a John or a cop that was a John. That's what I think too. But see, with the positioning of the body, the fact that the body was dragged away from the sliding glass door and placed in the living room, and then a TV placed on top of her. They try to say that that TV fell on her, but there was no postmortem contusion associated with that TV falling on her. It looks almost as though it was placed gently. And the fact that she was face down, that tells me that whoever did this had a personal investment in Yvonne. And that crime scene was so fucking, it was so shitty staged. I mean, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. At least with the Stephen Avery case, they gave a half-ass attempt to make the conviction look legit. They planted evidence, albeit shittily, but they did. But the fact is that in the David Thorne case, there is no attempt to make this shit look legit at all. None. Candy, any shoe matches to prints and blood? No, and here's the funny thing. The cops were walking through there without booties, and at one point, a cop did make an imprint in blood, and they took a picture of it. Now, there was shoe impressions in the blood. However, it was never determined whose shoes they were. Marissa, what did the door face? Was anyone who could see that door interviewed? The door faced a balcony with no stairs leading up to the balcony, which is really weird. So the fact that they even dragged her away from the sliding glass door, it's not like anybody from the street could have seen her. So it's really kind of odd. It's a weird fucking situation. Catherine, this case is actually used in a textbook as an example of how not to investigate a case. I know, that would be Brent Turvey. He actually consulted on the case, and his report is going to be published on the website. And actually, you guys can read up on the website also at www.wcodt, wrongful conviction of David Thorne. And it's got a lot of stuff on there, including the Turvey report. Take the moment of a lull in the questions to take a sip of beverage. As usual, Death Wish coffee, Valhalla blend, Odin Force. Or I'm sorry, Valhalla Java Odin Force blend. Steven, have you seen the police photographs? I've seen a good majority of the crime scene photographs. Yes, I actually have them, and I've been all through those fucking things. I'm missing something. I'm missing something because there's something wrong. Jason, Casey, any chance? You behave yourself. Garrett, was there any fingerprint evidence collected on the knife that was connected to David? No, there was a thumbprint found on a knife that they claim was the murder weapon, but it was never confirmed. Sorry, I thought I saw somebody walking up to my front door. It was never matched to anyone, Joe Wilkes or David Thorne. Stephen, John, all of them. Yeah, I have seen. The only ones I haven't seen are all of the autopsy photographs. Catherine, oh my God, my husband, I love that. It's good shit. I also am rather fond of Rio Grande Roasters Pinon chocolate coffee. Fucking amazing. And yes, that's how it's pronounced. It's Pinon. We eat that shit on everything here. It's like chili. Casey, it's like cracking a cup. Seriously. Although, I waffle between Rio Grande Roasters chocolate Pinon coffee, Valhalla Java Odin Force blend, and chocolate raspberry. This morning it happens to be Valhalla Java. Plus, I just love Zach Wilde. Stephen John, is there a link? Yeah, you can go to my Facebook page, Casey Martinez, aka Mama Phoenix, and I've got a link on there to the website. Marissa, was the knife one brought to the scene, or was it a knife already in her place? Example, her kitchen knife. There was a kitchen knife missing from her kitchen. They never found it. There was a knife found like a couple blocks away that they claim is the murder weapon, but it was never, the tool marks were never matched up. Her throat was cut so bad that there was a nick on the vertebrae, and somehow that was never matched up to the knife that they claim is the murder weapon. Marissa, off topic, but how old are your kids? Okay, so we have two 16-year-olds, a 15-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old. My 3-year-old's birthday is actually in a couple days. She's December 30th, and then my 4-year-old's birthday is January 18th, and my 2-year-old's birthday is on January 7th. A lot of birthdays, and I'm January 1st. So this is like birthday, just collective birthday time for us. Catherine, my granddaughter calls my husband Odin instead of grandpa. Fucking rock on. That is sick. I love it. Garrett, I am looking through all the photos that are on the site. I'm confused why the phone booths were photographed. Phone booths. Oh, that's because they claim that Joe Wilkes had called David Thorne his pager from one of those phone booths. Marissa, Casey, why not go back to school? It's not like you're busy with kids. I am in school, actually. I'm on break right now. I start my new semester on the 3rd. Typically, I take 3 classes. This semester, I'm taking 2 because I start my new job on the 9th. And this is one of my classes. This is Essentials of Criminal Justice. So I'm taking Essentials of Criminal Justice and English 115. So yeah, I've already completed 2 semesters, and now I'm going into my 3rd semester. I don't know if this was covered earlier, as I've not long joined, but I think in an earlier video you said that the little boy wandering the house said that someone named Jimmy or Jeremy climbed out. He said Jeremy pushed my mom, or something to that effect, but it was never looked into very seriously, and she did know a Jeremy. The window, was that investigated properly? No, it was never investigated. I can answer that without even looking at the fucking case file. It was never investigated, which is fucking horse shit. I'm running low. Sad face. Stacy, I wonder if APD took advice from MPD on how to investigate a case, like a monkey humping a football. I prefer like a blind monkey fucking a coconut, but hey, whatever works. Yeah, I really, it's kind of funny. Kathleen Zellner has said this, and it's actually quite true in the wrongful conviction community. These wrongful conviction cases have a language of their own, and if you are well versed in that language, you can spot it from a mile away. When they involve a false confession or a confession that just doesn't match the evidence, when they focus on a single fucking suspect early on in the investigation and there's no like actual pulling of the suspects, it's pretty much a guarantee that it's a false fucking conviction. Garrett, what the scrapes that were photographed on David, the reason they focused on David. David, at the time, was training in what they call shoot fighting, which is kind of like a precursor to the UFC, to MMA. And so prior to all of this bullshit, he was taking those kinds of classes. He was training to be a shoot fighter. He was training in shoot fighting. And he also kept I want to say a puma, but it wasn't a puma. It was some kind of big fucking cat. So, I mean, come on. I mean, how can you keep a big cat and not wind up with some scrapes? I keep 2 little cats and I fucking get scratches all over the place. Garrett, I got good copy, you fucker. Teasing me. Candy, did anything come out of the TV show on this case? No, it didn't. And that's why we're doing this, is because this shit is lingering and I find that appalling. So on the website report, and in the coroner's report, it states that at the time of the autopsy, which supposedly took place April 1st at 7 p.m., they set the time of death at March 31st at 7 p.m. However, in the coroner's report, they state that rigor was already receding. Rigor doesn't even set in until 2 hours after death and typically lasts anywhere between 48 to 72 hours. So how the fuck do they figure that a mere 24 hours after death, rigor was already receding? That right there is suspect. Stacy, TV show, please share link. Thank you. I think it's on, Stacy, you can find it on the wrongful conviction of David Thorne website. It's a www.wcodt.org. And you should be able to find it there. I think Sue put that up. And, you know, kids, real quick, let me just boogie on over here. Let me get the letters that David has sent me. David has sent me 2 letters. Here's one. Let me make sure that I've got both of them. I don't think I do. But this is the most recent letter from David. And yeah, dead again from A&E. That's right. Garrett, why then would David confess if he knew that he had an airtight alibi and was there a videotaped confession like Brandon's? Okay, Garrett, David didn't confess. Joe Wilkes confessed. And no, there is no videotape. In fact, there's not even any audio tape. They only recorded the audio from the last interview from every person they talked to. David says, Casey, hello, how are you doing today? I hope all is well and pray this scribe finds you in the best of spirits. I want to start by saying I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Plus, I want to thank you for sticking up for Sue when the crazy preacher chick started to go off on her for saying I was married. It seems I have a knack for attracting the crazy stalkers. This letter is kind of long, but essentially the letter that I received from him the first time around, he sounded very down and very resigned to his fate. And in this letter, he seems to have some hope. And I'm wanting to increase his hope. Because it must be awful to be sitting in a jail cell and think that nobody understands, nobody knows the truth, and you're basically banging your head up against a wall. Isn't that illegal as fuck? You know, to be honest, it is. And yet somehow this was allowed to stand. Crime of Nitley, it is hot in my house. Hold on real quick, guys. I'm going to run and turn down my heater. Whew. I have a heater vent that sits right above my head right here. So I like get blasted with hot air. It's ridiculous. Okay. Will, this case is a perfect example of talking out of both sides of your mouth in the same sentence. It seriously is. It's ridiculous to me how no one is seeing this. No one is understanding that this is a... This case breaks my heart because the only difference between this case and Stephen Avery's is a documentary. That's it. Marissa, each state and area has different ways of doing interviews. Most do them by video now because that way the evidence of the interview can't be argued as easily in court. That's very true, Marissa. And we have to remember, this all happened in 1999, and there actually were not as many regulations and rules in place in 1999 as there are now. I mean, even just a scant 4 or 5 years after this is when the Avery case happened. And the fact is that, you know, in that 4 or 5 year time frame, everything changed. And they started, you know, recording all interviews and yada, yada, yada. But in 1999, that wasn't always the case. Drafty, how many years was he charged for? 25. He's in for life. In fact, he's in so long that they will not allow him to train for anything because they pretty much just believe that he's going to die behind bars. Candy, are you still in New Mexico? I am. I moved 3 hours south to the biggest city in my state, which is Albuquerque. They of the Breaking Bad fame. Okay, so I live in Albuquerque. And I'm really pissed off that Breaking Bad is the show that we're known for, because personally, my favorite show that was set here was In Plain Sight. Fantastic show. If you've never seen it, I suggest that you stream it because it's fucking great. But when Breaking Bad ended, the city of... Well, now that we've heard from... The city of Albuquerque actually held a fucking funeral for Walter White. I shit you not. And people still drive by the house and throw pizzas on the roof. It's like, guys, this is a little old lady's house. That's fucking rude. It's getting bad. Ugh. And Better Call Saul is set here too. Nicola, do you think she was pregnant at the time? I do believe that she was pregnant at the time, because there's a lot of things that indicate that. First of all, Yvonne Lane was known to be a skinny mini. She weighed 98 pounds roughly, soaking wet with rocks in her pockets. And yet at the time of her autopsy, she weighed 120 pounds minus her blood. And then there's a lot of detail in the coroner's report until you get to the reproductive system. And then the reproductive system is just like ovaries, fallopian tubes, and uterus are all normal. All normal. After this woman has given birth 5 times and had numerous abortions, you're saying that it's all normal and unremarkable? Fuck you, you're full of shit. Garrett, is there any way that I can help David Thorne besides donating money? By all means, spread the word, spread the link for his defense fund, spread these videos, spread the website, research the case, look into the case file. I mean, there's write him letters, send him postcards, let him know that people give a shit. Email Kathleen Zellner repeatedly until she takes the fucking case. Email any attorney, any civil, until somebody takes his fucking case. I mean, there's so many ways to help. You have no idea. Stacy, it is a miscarriage of justice. It really is. Garrett, I agree. Great show. Isn't it? I love In Plain Sight. It's such a good show. Marissa, when I gave my statement about my assault, it was videotaped, tape recorded, and written by an officer word for word, all at the same time. That, I think it goes by jurisdiction. And Ohio is not exactly known for being a forefront runner. Candy, if you ever get pulled into police and questioned, don't say anything. Exactly. And they will always say, oh, well, if you don't have anything to hide, you shouldn't ask for a lawyer. That's bullshit. I've seen so many people get railroaded that were completely innocent. It's fucking ridiculous. Catherine, if it makes you feel better, I loved In Plain Sight and never saw Breaking Bad. I refuse to watch Breaking Bad. I've never seen a single episode of Breaking Bad. I can't do it. Criminal Minds actually does a lot of shows around here, and they film here quite frequently. And the movie industry here in Albuquerque is actually ratcheting up quite a bit. So, because they get a lot of tax breaks when they film movies here. So there's actually, you can make like a decent living just being an extra on set. It's quite interesting. Plus, I just love my hometown. I'm originally from Taos, which is about 3 hours north of here. We actually just got back from Taos yesterday. We took my midgets up to spend the rest of Christmas break with my mom. So, yeah. It's a really pretty drive. If you guys are into skiing, Taos is a great place because it's got like 3 of the world's best ski resorts within driving distance of it. Denise, Breaking Bad is awesome. Candy, is your hubby still on Walking Dead? He was never on Walking Dead. My husband was in an episode of, what is it? It's the vampire show. Oh God damn it. It was a movie. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie. Anyways, he was on an episode of that. He played one of the tattooed faced inmates. I can't think of it. Sorry, guys. Steven, Strang and Buting should give something back. They made a mint since MAM. Yeah, I got nothing. Catherine, Detroit got excited when Batman versus Superman got filmed there. We had, I think like the last Terminator or the last 2 Terminators filmed here. And then we had a Batman filmed here in Burque. True Blood. No, not Dusk Till Dawn. That's the one. Thanks, guys. From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, he was in the 3rd season of that when they're in the prison riot scene. He's in that one. Debbie, what about Yvonne's dad? Is it possible that because of the camera on the fridge, she caught her dad doing something, confronted him, and her dad got someone to kill her so she didn't reveal it to anyone? I firmly believe that is a possibility. Because if you read her mom's interview with police, she says he, talking about whoever killed her daughter. Typically, when people are being interviewed with regards to shit like that, they would say they, because they don't know who, that they're not thinking gender. She keeps saying he. It's almost like she knows something. Yes, I'm back on the cigarettes. I love vaping. I really do. But, the unit that I had, while the E-Leaf Ice Stick Basic is a great unit, it's very touchy. And until I can afford a better one, I agree. Strang and Buting are raking it in from MAN. They should help Stephen, although I do believe their talks are helping worldwide. I wouldn't be surprised if Strang and Buting were actually giving money to the defense fund, to be quite honest. They're just that kind of guys. I'm just saying. Marissa, Strang and Buting make me mad. Selling tickets for talks when they didn't even get Stephen Avery. But see, Marissa, that's the thing. First of all, they didn't represent Brendan Dassey at all. He had a public defender. But with regards to Stephen Avery, their hands were tied on so many levels when it comes to that. Crime immediately. Of course, my Amazon Fire remote reaches from here, but not this one. So I'm sorry for the soundtrack of Finding Nemo in the background, guys. But their hands were tied with the Denny motion. And they were prevented from presenting any kind of a defense. So, we can't really blame them too much. So, just so you guys know, Eric Cameron is Yvonne's on-again, off-again boyfriend, and he was in prison at the time of her murder. However, he had abused her quite badly over the course of their relationship, and it would not surprise me if he had hired somebody or if he had talked somebody into hurting her, especially if she was pregnant again. And even though he claims all of the kids are his, we actually have DNA evidence that proves that he's not the father of all of the children. Denise, I think String and Buting are wonderful attorneys that did everything they could to help Stephen. They got screwed too. They did. They really did. That Denny motion fucked everything up. And the great thing is that in the David Thorne case, we have no such motion. However, the fucking judge, the DA that David was going up against went for the death penalty. I have never heard of the death penalty in a fucking conspiracy to commit murder case, ever. But she was going for the death penalty, and she used to throw tantrums in the courtroom, like stomping her foot and yelling and blah, blah, blah. And how the judge allowed this shit, I'll never know. But she's a judge now, Krissa Hartman. So when you see me tweeting, and it's at @Krissa, that's who I'm tweeting to, is the fucking DA from this case. And David's defense attorney was drunk through the vast majority of the trial. How that did not result in a mistrial or a retrial, I'll never fucking know. Candy, so they didn't look at anyone else for the murder. No, they didn't. Marissa, I do wonder if they didn't fight harder knowing that they would lose just to give a more perfect chance at appeals. Well, here's the thing, kids. This is what a lot of people don't understand, is when you're a defense attorney, especially a criminal defense attorney, the chances of you getting your client off, whether they're innocent or not, are slim to none. Because even though the principle is innocent until proven guilty, that's not how it always works out. I wish it was. I saw him jumping on the couch and my mom heart went, Dagan, sit on your booty. Stacy, do you think if David gets out, the state of Ohio will make him sign an Alford plea? I won't allow him to sign an Alford plea. He is going to be exonerated. End of fucking story. Carrie, yay, back again. Hi, Carrie. Now, Carrie, guys, Carrie lives in Bognor Regis, England. I'm surprised Jan's not around. She's usually up and at him at the... Jan is the woman who never sleeps. Her and Carrie, they do not fucking sleep, ever. It's ridiculous. Jan and Carrie are really kind of my movers and shakers, and you know, they're always there to pull me back up when I'm starting to feel a little too you know, because stuff like this can get really overwhelming, and it can get to the point where you're just like, I'm not having any effect. I'm not helping. And Carrie just always reminds me, you know, no, Casey, you're spreading, even just one more person knowing about this case and getting as pissed off as you are helps. And I love them. I love them. They're my homies. Oh, sorry. With Thorne, what were his appeals based on, and did they ever go to a retrial or instantly denied? Instantly denied every time. And he's pretty much gone through every appeal that he possibly fucking can. Ineffective counsel, habeas corpus, yada fucking yada. I mean, he's gone through everything. The trial transcripts are currently being converted to PDF, and I'm adding them to the website, so you'll be able to see that for yourself. Stephen, they asked for the death penalty to soften up the jury. I think so. I think that she did. Although that was dirty pull, and that's a dirty fucking tactic. Carrie, thank God for coffee. Right. Although you're from England, aren't you supposed to be obsessed with a cuppa? And by the way, I'm probably going to ask you to start sending me some tea while we're at it. Marissa, I'm happy Eccles and everyone are free because of the Alford plea, but what a slap in the face to the victims to not have the case reopened, properly investigated. That's what pisses me right the fuck off about that shit too, is they're basically like, 3 little boys dead. Nobody paying the price. Our story didn't stick, but It's total bullshit. Fern, I'm around. We'll turn the main computer on in a few and send you the latest PDF files. Oh, there you are, Jan. Thanks, darling. Jan really is something special, guys. I mean, this woman can take a fucking TIFF, like a shitload of TIFF files, and turn it into one solid PDF like that. She amazes me. Carrie, please, everyone, use your social media. It's free. David has no Netflix budget behind him. Exactly. David has no one except us. And that breaks my heart. Hi, puppy. Are we back to bug me again? Yes, we is. Yes, we is. Get down. Sit. Good girl. I've nicknamed her Dozer because she quite literally just plows through everything. Marissa, Alfred plea to me is just law enforcement saying they were wrong but too lazy to care. Pretty much. That's all that is. That's just the law enforcement officials. That's the state just saying, fuck it. This isn't important enough to burden ourselves about. And on a lot of cases, I can understand it. Or on a lot of cases, I'm like, that sucks. But with the West Memphis 3 case, that really pisses me off because there's a murderer of 3 children out there. And even if he's never done it again, the point is 3 children were murdered. And they're just like, whatever. Get down. Steven, do this again. Got to get supper. Where are you, Steven? It's 10:23 in the morning where I am. But yes, by all means. And I will probably be doing another one soon. I'm not sure when. But I'll look at my schedule and I'll get back to y'all. But yes, this case is disturbing on so many levels, not just with the fact that there is a man wrongfully convicted, sitting in jail for something he didn't fucking do. I don't even want to know. But there's the fucking handling of this case is just disturbing. Jan, I would love a pit bull, but they're banned in the UK. Oh, that's shit. That is such bullshit. Oh, come on, guys. Now, so yeah, basically at this point, we need DNA testing on the evidence. I personally feel that a private investigator would be extremely useful at this point, because if someone could even just find the person that was leaving Yvonne's house on April 1st, the morning of April 1st, that could shed a whole lot of new light on this case. Marissa, what does David think about you covering this and bringing it to attention? David loves it. And he is just such the sweetest guy. He writes to me and he absolutely loves that not only are we backing up him, we're backing up his wife, who has been on this case basically for 15 years, 16 years. And really, for a long time, it was just David and his wife, Sue. And now they've got a group of people behind them. And that group is starting to grow. So it gives them hope. And hope is the business that I'm in here, kids. I'm not here to make money for myself. I'm not here to bring attention to myself. I'm here to bring attention to these cases and to get something moving and shaking on it. Carrie, seriously, I have no me time. I have 3 autistic children to look after, but I truly believe David is innocent, and that's why I'm on this case. Carrie is just the greatest person in the world. I love her. Nicola, yeah, please do another live feed or Q&A on David's case so I'm sober next time. Cheers. For the water. Stacy, it is scary. It is a scary thought that if Ellie can do this to the West Memphis Three, Stephen Avery and Brandon Dassey and David Thorne, it can happen to any one of us in this chat. And no one will give a rat's ass about it. So sad. We need to get David out. We do need to get David out. He's been sitting in prison for 17 years, kids. Since 1999. Okay, let me put it to you this way. Imagine yourself in 1999. All right, this was when Nokia phones were still the thing, and there was no such thing as tablets. And, you know, really think about where you were in 1999. Now, imagine you jumped to 2016, 2017, and you only know what you knew in 1999. That's some scary shit. And the fact is that nothing has been done. Frightening. And people want to talk shit about, you know, oh, why do you even care? Blah, blah, blah. Because I am not pledging my life to a fucking system that fails this fucking bad. I'm just not. And the vast majority of the criminal justice system works. But it's in these instances that people like you and me can really make a difference, all the difference in the world to even just one person. Marissa, does he have a possible date of release? No, he doesn't. He has no date of release. He's in for the rest of his life. Amy, oral arguments set for 2:14. Each side gets 15 minutes per Brendan's lawyers. Oh, nice. Sweet. Nice to know. Candy. Should flood the social media of Kelly Siegler and crime scene investigator Yolanda McClary of Cold Justice TV show. Yes, by all means. Flood the shit out of them, and I will too. We need to get as much media attention on this case as we can, because as we've seen with MAM, media attention is what gets shit done. When they start to realize that it's more than just some YouTube bitch looking at this case, that's when things will start to get done. And that's what we need to do here, kids, is we need to get as much attention on David's case as we can. Am I the only one that cracks up at these designer waters? This isn't even my bottle. My son bought this, and then I stole the bottle. Perfect pH water with electrolytes and minerals. Suck my ass. Quit being fucking pretentious. Carrie, Cold Justice is canceled. Oh, okay. Denise, I wonder how hard it is to get David Thorne on Ryan Ferguson's show. I think a couple of the cases he looked into ended up getting their convictions overturned. I don't know, but I tweet him frequently regarding David's case. If everybody could start tweeting him about this, it could make all the difference in the world, kids. As the emperor on Mulan said, a single grain of rice can tip the scales. Let's tip the scales. Let's tip them like a motherfucker. Candy should try hint water. You know, I love hint water, actually. The chocolate mint is my favorite. Anything chocolate. Come on. I didn't get this fabulous by giving a fuck about whether I eat chocolate. Garrett, I still don't understand how the Innocence Project cannot be at all intrigued by this case and refuse to even want to look at it. I don't know. But, you know, like I said on the website, you know what? Let me see real quick, kids, if I can pull up the website and give Garrett the link. Oh, we've got Bobby Darin playing in the background. Let's see if I can pull up the... There we go. Hold on, monkey. Espera un momento, por favor. But there's the website, and on the website, under the updates tab, you'll find the rejection letter from the Ohio Innocence Project. I flood the shit out of their Twitter feed. Marissa, I saw Earth water one day. I was like, didn't know any other planets had water. Actually, a couple of them do, but I'm no science major, so I don't know. Denise, I'll start tweeting him. Thank you, Denise. Carrie, tweet every show you can. Yes, absolutely. I tweet Dateline. I tweet NBC. I tweet everybody. Catherine, they need proof of new evidence before they will take the case. That's the thing, though, Catherine, is that none of the fucking evidence was ever DNA tested. So if we can get anything DNA tested, that could be what tips the scales. The problem is that in order to get any DNA testing done, we need an attorney. Carrie, it seems to me the Innocence Project takes on easy cases. That's what I think. I think that they take on the ones that are just so fucking blatant. And it's primarily because it's law students, but come on. Marissa, Casey, have you sent the Innocence Project an email with all the sketchy shit attached? Like, here, look, I have. And they've basically told me to shut my mouth. Nicola, this Christmas I made time to think about David, Stephen, and Brennan and how unfair the American Justice Service is. I'm a writer, and my New Year's resolution is to try and help those wronged by the system. Thank you, Nicola. That means a lot. It really does. And the more people that we get looking into this case, the better. Carrie, if you can PayPal David's fund, it's easy. I did it from the UK. You know what? Let me pull up David's PayPal real quick. This is the PayPal to pay for the attorney. And, you know, we actually get a pretty steady stream of donations, but obviously not nearly as many as we would like and we would need. But here's David's PayPal if anybody wants to donate. Even $5 helps. You have no idea. Marissa, so with, say, Stephen Avery, did the Innocence Project only hop back on because of Kathleen Zellner? I think so. I think that's really the only reason why they even fucking got involved, to be quite honest. And it's fucking sad because it is something, you know, this case is so rife with fucking bullshit that the right attorney could easily make this case. The problem is that it requires work, and I guess nobody wants to do the work. I want to do the work, but I don't have the license. Yet. I will. Quit making your noises. Just down here grunting. Weird fucking dog. Oh, that's the end of that pack. Good thing I got a carton. 2 points. Drafty, back. How much would an attorney cost roughly? The kind of attorney that could really make a difference in this case, roughly, I'd say $10,000, $15,000. But that's the thing, though, is that a lot of attorneys will work on retainer. So once we're able to pay the retainer for an attorney, which is roughly $5,000 to $10,000, they'll happily keep working until that retainer runs out, and then you just give them another chunk of change, and then, you know, like that. So if we could get $10,000 to $15,000, even just $5,000 at this point to show that people give a fuck and people are going to be donating, and that, you know, that there is merit to this case, that would make all the difference in the world. So if you guys could spread around the PayPal and write a little something about why people should give a fuck, why people should donate, I would really appreciate it, and so would Dave and Sue. Denise, I agree with that as well. As soon as Stephen was looked at for the second crime, he was dropped like a hot potato. Seriously. It's fucking ridiculous how fast they dropped his ass. Marissa, think it's less about the cost of the lawyer and more about the court costs, which get huge fast. That's very true, but you know what? We get that shit opened. I will personally hold a fundraiser and fire dance if I have to. I don't fucking care what it takes. I will do whatever the fuck it takes. My group is so dedicated to David and Sue. We will do whatever it takes to raise the money. I mean, we donate ourselves regularly. Candy, do law schools take on cases for the students to get experience? Yes, they do, but that's primarily what the Innocence Project does. The problem is that most law schools will only take cases from their state. And from what I understand, there's only the one law school in Ohio, which is fucking retarded. Pardon the language. That wasn't meant as a dig at anybody, I promise. There is an autistic child in David's case. It's too close to my home. I know, Carrie, and it's fucking sad because I think that they've already told them who did it. and they don't take him seriously because he's autistic. Come on. Stacy, does David have any other children, and what happened to the Vic's children at the time of the crime? David only has the one son, and fortunately, him and his son are actually very close. He visits him and everything, and he knows that he didn't kill his mother. But the other children, I believe, were taken in by Yvonne's parents, and they were raised, and they're all adults now. I work really hard not to say that word, the R word. I really do. I work so hard not to say it, but sometimes things slip out, guys. I'm sorry. Garrett, did the other kids hear anything that could help? The other children were all too young at the time. I believe that there was a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, I believe. So they were too little. Here's the funny thing, though. None of the neighbors, and these houses were pretty close together, none of the neighbors heard the children crying all night. Carrie, that child knows who did it. There are ways of getting that info out. I think so too, Carrie. And why they haven't brought anybody in to talk to him, I'll never know. Marissa, which is horrible because autistic children often have a freaking photographic scary memory that could in grand detail explain exactly what happened. I believe that too. It's actually not called the photographic memory. It's called an eidetic memory. And I actually have one myself. And with autistic children, often their eidetic memory is so spot on. It's frightening. And I think that they need to have a talk with Vincent again. That's just my thought process. Nicola, let's do it. I need the link and email to donate to David. Do we have a David Thorne website in the UK? The website that I put up, scroll up, it will work in the UK, as will the PayPal link that I put. So scroll up and it'll take you right to it. Thank you, Nicola. And spread it around. Spread the information. Carrie, yeah, okay, thanks. Drafty, they were taken in by the person who used to go to their house, strip down to his underwear and have a smoke. Yeah, believe it or not. Nicola, her mom was very suspicious too. Seriously. The fuck was going on there? I mean, who the fuck? And I had somebody comment on my video on Tanya's interview with police. That shock makes us do weird things. But I'm sorry. I have never known a parent to see their child killed so brutally, covered in their own fucking blood, and not rush over there and try to see if there was anything that they could do to help her. That doesn't make any sense. It's beyond suspicious at this point, kids. That's all I'm saying. Oh, we're only down to 20 viewers? Fuck. No bueno. Okay, so to recap, Yvonne Lane's time of death was set at March 31st at 7 p.m. Her body was not discovered until roughly noon, 12:30-ish the next day, on April 1st of 1999. So that's, what, 16 hours-ish, 14? Something like that. And yet, if you look in the evidence pictures, a lot of that blood is still wet. It's not dry and brown and crusty like it should be. So there's something very odd going on there. Marissa, do they just assume the kids were locked away by their mom, or did they print the doorknob? No, they did not print the doorknob. But they did assume that that they were locked in there by their mother. Abby, it's great that in the age of social media, cases like these are getting some steam and people are fighting for a cause. I think it's great what you're doing. Oh, thanks, Abby. Aisling, I'm still here listening. Oh, good. Stacy, not suspicious, downright criminal. Right. Garrett, with the evidence of contamination that happened, do you agree or disagree with the fact that there could be evidence that would find the real killer? I think that there is evidence that could find the real killer. I think that they didn't look nearly as closely as they should have. And at the very least, I believe that it's going to take some severe police work. It's going to take DNA testing to free David Thorne. And I think that at this point, the real killer could be found, because I don't believe that he's far. And to be quite honest, I personally think there's two. And you know what they say, two people can keep a secret if one of them is dead. Catherine, if that cop was able to step in the blood and make new footprints, you would think the blood would be fresher than what they said. Exactly. That's the point. Nicola, she seemed calm. I have 2 kids. I would have lost my mind. Bitch didn't even take the kids out of the house. Right. Right. I mean, I'm sorry, but I would have been stepping over my daughter and going and checking on them kids and making sure that they were okay. Jesus. Marissa, why is it that law enforcement can knowingly railroad someone and not face criminal charges themselves? If they changed that law, we would see far fewer cases like this. I believe that too. And in fact, if that shit's not taken care of by the time I have my law degree, I will be lobbying for that to be put into legislation in all fucking states, because that's bullshit. Although that's starting to have some steam picked up. There was a prosecutor in Texas that was found guilty of prosecutorial misconduct and was sentenced, very light, fucking ridiculous sentence, but was still sentenced for prosecutorial misconduct. And so while that's the first case in the United States that we've seen of that, it's starting to pick up steam. I've seen that there's another prosecutor and some lab techs that are actually on trial right now. Jamie, in order for an exoneration, does evidence that finds someone else guilty need to be found, or just evidence that proves it wasn't David? Just evidence that proves it wasn't David. But, you know, a good attorney would try to find the real killer. But, you know, at this point, I just want David out. I just want David out. I think it's bullshit. He needs to be home. This is long enough. I'm sorry, I've got a puppy down here. And she's just, pet me, pet me, pet me. Sit. Or climb on me, one of the two. She wants to say hi to everybody. Hello, I is the Hannah Banana. What did you find? You found a game piece. Mira. Garrett, would any of the evidence that, in your opinion, can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he is innocent? I believe so. I believe that there is evidence out there that can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that David is completely innocent, because in order to prove David innocent, we have to prove that Joe Wilkes could not have possibly committed this murder. Now, here's the funny thing. Here's the really hilarious thing. They say that David Thorne hired Joe Wilkes to commit this murder and that he paid him $300 to do it. But do you want to know where the $300 figure came from? The murder didn't take place until late March, early April of 1999. The $300 figure came from the fact that that was the last major withdrawal from his bank account that David Thorne had made in December. The fuck? Abby, I think that by exonerating David, the true killer will be revealed. This is a more mild example, but Stephen was exonerated after DNA evidence proved it was Gregory Allen who assaulted Penny. I don't know. This case has a little bit of twists and turns, because David wasn't ever actually accused of doing the killing himself. He was accused of hiring Joe Wilkes to do the killing for him. However, I do believe that new evidence would prove that David Thorne had nothing to do with this. And you know, kids, sitting in these chairs for a long time just kind of gets you stiffened up. I'm not used to sitting for this long at a time. I'm usually like up and moving around while I do shit. And then, I'll sit for like 10, 15 minutes and I'll do a video and then I get up and I do more shit. So it's like sitting here locks up all my joints and they're like, we need you to pop us. Jamie C, it's absolutely crazy that just a statement from someone, especially one that isn't concrete, can strip someone's freedom away. It is fucking scary. It's frightening. But Ryan Ferguson had the same thing happen to him, and that's why he works so hard to exonerate people. Catherine, why would he pay $300 to kill her when he only owed $700 in back child support? The police said on TV that back child support was one of the reasons. Exactly, and it makes no fucking sense. First of all, if you're going to pay $300 for a fucking hitman, you get what you pay for, and obviously that didn't work out, and I would like to think that David Thorne is a lot smarter than to just pay $300 for a hitman. Carrie, it would have taken more than $300 for me to kill someone, and why would David keep his hitman in town? I would have gotten him out of town. Exactly. It makes no sense. Garrett, did Wilkes confess to David hiring him, or was it the police saying this? If you read Joe's transcripts, it's a lot like Brendan's. They tell him what to say. It's really fucking weird. Stacy, I stick to my guns and thinking that Davis, not Thorne, was the one who hired Joe to kill the Vic. I don't think that Joe really was the one who killed her, but I do believe that Amy Davis was involved. Drafty, in December, because not like people make big withdrawals for Christmas, especially when you have a child, and $300 isn't even a lot. I take out more than that from my bank every week. Right? The fuck was that all about? Abby, Yvonne's mother and what she told police and her less than grandmotherly behavior weirds me out, but I don't think it was her. And laughing out loud at $300, what was David's full sentence? David's full sentence is life without the possibility of parole, which is total bullshit. It's such bullshit. Every now and then I get one of these in the mail from David, and every time I get one of these, it just breaks my heart. Because he's still there. Because it still has inmate correspondence stamped on the top. And it's the most heartbreaking thing, kids. It really is. Because he is just... For a while there, he had resigned himself to his fate. And no one should ever resign themselves to their fate like this. Ever. And now we're starting to see a little bit of fire back. He says here, have you heard of what the PREA is? Prison Rape Elimination Act. It has caused a lot more problems than it has resolved. They use it to take more away from us than what it was really designed to do. Now they started a program for dudes who have breast implants that are not allowed to take female hormones so they can learn how they should be treated in the joint. Really? Or better yet, B1 just switched over to a visually impaired dorm, 64 of them in their visual aid guide. Think about it. What are they in for? They sure as hell weren't out there stealing cars. 1,100 of the 23 to 2,400 here are sex crimes. I've got to get out of this shithole. Those few words at the end of that I have to get out of this shithole, brought tears to my eyes when I read it, because the letter prior to this sounded so defeated. And now there's a little bit of fire back in his belly, and I aim to stoke that flame into a roaring fucking inferno. Abby, for conspiracy of murder, what the hell? Exactly. It makes no sense whatsoever. Carrie, he got a telling off for feeding the bird people. He did. He got cited in prison. David, just a few weeks ago, had saved a piece of his cake to feed the birds, and they cited him. They gave him a demerit for that. Marissa, I'd love to know what a normal sentence for this is. I would think the killer's sentence should be more than what the person doing the hiring would ever get. That's what you would think. But I don't know. David does not deserve to be in prison, kids. He really doesn't. And even if I can't comprehend how any of this happened. How long did the hitman get? I believe that Joe Wilkes got the same sentence. I think he got life without the possibility of parole, but he never had a trial. He turned state's evidence in a plea agreement so that he wouldn't get the death sentence. David Thorne has had a hard enough raw ass fucking deal as it is. He was raised by his grandparents. His mother and his father were not in the picture. At this point, even his sister has nothing to do with him. His grandfather is dead, and to be quite honest, I'm not sad about that, because part of the reason why he's in there is because of his grandfather. When Yvonne was found dead, David's grandfather hired an attorney without David's knowledge, and that's pretty much what put David on the police's radar. And weird. It makes no kind of sense at this point, kids. It's like, well, duh, of course he had nothing to do with the hiring of the attorney, so why would that look suspicious to law enforcement? You know what I mean? What about Wilkes and his IQ? Wilkes has an IQ of 69. So he's got the same IQ as Brendan Dassey. Pardon me. I smoked the last cigarette out of my last pack. So is Wilkes trying to overturn his conviction? He is, but he's trying to use the technicality route. He doesn't have an attorney either. So he's kind of shooting in the dark. Did Thorne have a criminal history? No, he didn't. He had never been in trouble with the law prior to this. The one time he was in trouble with the law, Joe Wilkes was also involved. They had been hanging out in like a parking lot area with a bunch of friends, and then another group came up, and there seemed to be a rumble of some kind. David took off running after one of the guys, and when he came back, Joe Wilkes had kicked in a window, but when the cops got there, Joe Wilkes told them that David was the one who kicked in the window, and that was the one piece of a criminal record that David Thorne had prior to this. So, Garrett, smoking is bad for you. No, really? Are you sure? Where did you get that? Sweetheart, I've been smoking for 22 years. Marissa, what happened to the right to an attorney? What happened is that all of David Thorne's appeals have been used up, so he no longer qualifies for a public defender. You know, I used to smoke a brand called Go to Hells. Their tagline was cheaper than psychiatry, better than a nervous breakdown. I should have kept a pack of those. They stopped making them. So, I mean, I've recently had people sending postcards from where they're from to David, because I want him to see where his supporters are. I have fans from around the world, and I want him to see that he has people who care. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put his address, and if you want to send a postcard to David, that would be fucking awesome. 16 London, Ohio 43140. So there's David's address. If any of you want to write him a letter or send him a postcard, he loves getting mail. And he appreciates all the support that he's been getting from everyone. Garrett got that info from Kratz. Because, you know, he either states the obvious or he makes shit up. Abby, I wouldn't be surprised if Wilkes is the murderer, but he decided to take David down with him. Low IQ doesn't give him a pass. I would assume that the police kind of pulled a confession out of him. You know, I wouldn't be surprised either at this point, especially with some of the shit that he has said and some of the way that he's behaved. But he did recant his confession, and he did state that David had nothing to do with anything. Marissa, I mean the right to an attorney before you're convicted or arrested. We all can have one on retainer no matter what we're doing. I know, and I don't know why the fuck that had anything to do with the price of fucking hookers in Taiwan. Makes no sense to me. Drafty, gonna write and send one tomorrow. Oh, thank you. Carrie, I'm hoping he got his cards for me. Haven't heard anything. It takes a little bit of time for the mail to get through, Carrie. Stacy, can we send photos such as sunset, snowfall, etc.? Yes, you can. The one rule with sending David anything is it can be only 3 cards. So if you're going to send pictures, only include 3 per envelope. That's the only rule. You can also send him like books and magazine subscriptions as long as you order them from like Amazon or something. And all you do is order them like you normally do and just send them to him. Send it to that address and that'll take it right to him. He likes sports magazines. Don't get him Sports Illustrated. And he likes car magazines, if anybody's interested. I myself am sending him a National Geographic subscription. Abby, is there like a club of awful prosecutors that love putting innocent people in jail? I think there is. They all must like get together and have monthly meetings or some shit, because the fuck? It's shit like this is not why we go to law school, kids. It really isn't. And you know, these cases are the reason why I'm going to law school, is because they do have a right to an attorney. And they don't only have a right to an attorney, they have a right to a good attorney. And I will do everything in my power to right as many of these wrongs as I possibly can. The awful prosecutors club meeting tonight. That would be fucking great. That would be hilarious. I don't know, guys. David's case pulls at me precisely because he doesn't have a big following like Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey. He doesn't have a giant fucking group of people, you know, holding protests and causing friction for Alliance PD and Alliance Ohio. And he deserves it. He deserves every bit of the support that Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey get. And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm saying that he deserves just as much as they're getting, because his deal was just as fucking raw. Laura Lang, I was just thinking that, is there an I'm a Corrupt Prosecutor newsletter they subscribe to? You know, maybe we should make one. Maybe we should make one and just start sending it to them. That would be fun. It's kind of like the bag of dicks, prosecutor style. Stacy, I like to be in nature, and I'm sure he has to miss it. Was going to go and take a walk and take some photos so he can have them to put up in his cell, so he can have a taste of the outside. Oh, that's so sweet. And yes, by all means do that. I mean, I want him to be able to see things. I just sent him a few postcards recently from Albuquerque. I would like to try and fly him and Sue out once he's released, and you know, just let them have a bit of a vacation. They deserve that. Marissa, where is his family? His family is not involved unless there's a camera involved. Let's just put it that way. Abby, Ken Kratz is the leader of the club. I don't think so. Ken Kratz isn't the leader of anything, starting with himself. And you know what I find so interesting is he's suddenly gone radio silent. Has anybody else noticed that? He's like suddenly just shut the fuck up. Like, who finally shut him up? Who finally broke out the duct tape? Because you could have done that sooner, saved us all a lot of trouble. Marissa, we should all send him a postcard from where we are so he can see where his supporters are. That's basically the principle behind the idea, Marissa, is I want him to see how far his support reaches. Garrett, did you at all go to see him in person and talk to anyone involved in David's case? My husband is a veteran, so my income is extremely limited. It's very fixed. So I unfortunately cannot afford a trip to Ohio, but I do talk with David's wife, and I write to him in prison, so I'm in contact with them. Marissa, have you spoken with him on the phone? I know it's expensive for collect calls. I haven't spoken to him on the phone. I actually am going to be putting some money on his commissary so he can call me. Abby, wasn't Kratz accused of sexual misconduct involving the rape victim of another case? And I will definitely send a postcard when I get out of this. Christmas dead. In November. Yes, Ken Kratz was accused of sexual misconduct, not just one count, but several. Laura Lang got the address, so he'll be receiving something from Scotland soon. Oh, thank you, Laura. That really means a lot. I mean, I have friends from around the world sending me postcards to send to David. So I send him a big collection when I get them together, and I send him letters, and he replies, and he really does appreciate all the support that he's getting. He really does. And it has given him and his wife hope, which is all I really want to do, is just give them hope. Let them know that there are people who give a shit. Because for so long, they felt like nobody did, you know? And they deserve knowing that people care. Aisling, thanks for the live chat. Casey got a dash. Food time. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I'll put up when I'm going to have another one. So enjoy your dinner, your tea, whatever it is you call it in the UK. Because I know that there's like 4 meals per day as opposed to our 3 here in the States. I think that there's my Latina comes out because every day around 2 o'clock I start getting sleepy. And as we all know, the Latinos have a thing for siesta daily. I wish that was a thing here. Marissa, I'm Christian and often say I'm praying, but I know other faiths don't always appreciate that. So is David okay with that, or would that bug him? I like to respect others' beliefs. David accepts all donations. At this point, it's just about support. Stacy, hells yes, I'm only 7 hours from London. Road trip. Yeah, you know, the funny thing is that 7 hours south of me is Lincoln, New Mexico, which is where all the Billy the Kid shit went down. And I've been there, and it's really interesting. It's a beautiful area, and they have like the actual bullet holes in the wall from when he was escaping the last time, and there's a lot of really interesting stuff. I'm Polish, and I believe in a siesta. Well, and it's funny because I don't look Latin. I don't look Spanish. At least I don't look like the Spanish that most people would assume look Spanish. I look like the European Spaniards, which is where my mother's family comes from. We're actually from Barcelona. We came over in 1692 with the de Vargas mission from Barcelona, Spain. We're actually directly descended from the Duke of Burke, which is whom Albuquerque is actually named for. So I don't fit the typical idea of what a Hispanic woman looks like, although I could go to fucking Spain right now and fit right in. I know a lot of people, it's actually funny because my kids crack up that I take so many pictures around our city. But I know that you guys are very interested in where I'm from, what we do on a daily basis, and things of that nature. And so I like to try to keep you guys in the loop. Yes, adjusting the bra strap. I love how some of my, here's the funny thing. 6 months ago, I had so many fucking haters. I'm surprised that we haven't had any haters in this chat today. But I had so many haters that love to talk shit about how I adjust my bra strap all the time. And I'm like, you try dealing with fucking yabos this big. Seriously. Will, he is blowing up Schimmel. That's why Congrats is silent. Ew! I did not need that mental picture, Will. Thanks. Laura, we need a siesta in Scotland. It should be mandatory so we can thaw out for a couple of hours a day at least. Well, who's got you living in the fucking frozen north? Seriously. Like, I would love to have a summer home in Scotland, but once that first snowfall hits, my ass is out of there. I'm heading to Bora Bora. Brennan's oral arguments are set for, it's bullshit that they're making him wait 2 fucking months. Abby, I'm Dominican, and a lot of their junk below the camera complaining about your bra. Oh, probably men who adjust their junk below the camera complaining about your bra. Yeah, well, And a lot of us are light-skinned, at least the ones I know. The stereotype is hilarious. It really is. And the funny thing is that I'm originally from New Mexico. My mother's family has been here for years. My father was a 6'7" Swede. Well, not Swedish. He was what he called a European Dukes mixture, European royalty born on the wrong side of the blanket. So we got Welsh and English and Scottish, Irish, and Norwegian blood. And the funny thing is that around here, the standard of beauty is, short and petite and brown because, all the Mexicanos came up from south of the border. So that's what they're referencing when they see me. And the funny thing is that if you see some of my cousins, it's hard to remember that we're related. I mean, even just seeing my mother. My mother is this little 5'3" Latina with the black stick straight Indian hair and, the sort of coffee colored complexion and brown eyes. And then, I'm the shortest of the litter at 5'7", and the rest of my brothers and sisters are all over 6 feet tall. And we're all, white skinned and blonde and blue eyed, and we make no sense. Marissa, I'm in Canada. It's like -20 or more. The funny thing is when I lived in Florida, I got a lot of people in Florida telling me, it gets really cold here in the winter. And I'm like, define cold. They're like, it gets to be about 32 degrees. I'm like, dude, that's not cold. Where I'm from, it goes to like -40. Marissa, we get 4 days of sun a year if we're lucky. Well, then I guess I'm not living in Scotland ever. Marissa, Laura, we have winter, mud, and hockey seasons. That's what I say about my hometown. We've got 2 seasons. We've got summer and we've got mud. Drafty. Yeah, same here in Ireland. About 4 days of sun a year. Laura, you win. Marissa, I couldn't cope with that. Jason signed David's petition on his website. Thank you, Jason. That's so sweet. Copy Addie and we'll send him a letter and art. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I love you. Carrie, currently 30 degrees Celsius here. Okay, you realize you're dealing with a blonde American, right, Carrie? Marissa, we actually have a nice summer, but it's very short. It gets to be about 80 in summer and -40 in winter. Fuck that noise. There's a reason why my ass lives in the desert. Marissa, Abby, it was 82 degrees Christmas Day here. You lucky. Christmas Day here, I think we hit about 65 here in Albuquerque, and thankfully I live in the desert, so it's like we get a dusting of snow and the city shuts down. And where I'm from, up in Taos, it's like you get 4 feet, and they're all 2-hour delay. And I'm going, fuck you, my kids are staying home. 3 degrees. Oh, Jesus, crotch on fire. Fuck that. Ugh. God, I hate the cold. I hate the cold so much. I want to move back to LA. Nicola, yeah, I'll send a postcard. I sent one to Brendan. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. We want people to. He has a game piece. Let's see how this plays out. Laura, we hit 2 degrees on Christmas Day, almost tropical. You know what's so funny is my brother lives up in Breckenridge, Colorado. He's a ski instructor up north. So if you guys ever hit Breckenridge, Colorado, ask for David Oliver and tell him that his little sister sent you. And because he's a hell of a ski instructor. He's amazing. And, you know, we went to visit him one year when, like in October, you know, and I'm standing outside of his house smoking a cigarette. I've got my big old flannel, I call it my gangster wrap on, and I'm standing there and I'm smoking. I'm freezing my ass off. And he comes out in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. And he's like, it's a balmy 35. God damn it, David. The funny thing is that my brother David is about 8 years older than me, and yet if you were to see us side by side, we've had people ask us if we're twins. Because he's just a big kid. He's this 6'4" fucking ski instructor that just, Hannah, get off. I want lovies. Hold on, kids. So, but yes, with the David Thorne case, this is why I'm having this live chat, is I wanted to be able to answer everybody's questions about it in real time. And I wanted people to be able to get the information to spread the word about this case. So if every single one of you could spread the word, put up links on your social media, tweet about the case, flood the Ohio Innocence Project, Ryan Ferguson, basically anybody you can fucking think of, with tweets about the case, because we need as much exposure on this as we possibly can get. Marissa watched a vlog the other day and it was freezing. The people were wearing winter everything, including scarves and hats. And she said it was 76. That's like when I lived in Florida. It was so fucking hilarious to me because we were living in Florida and it was like 85 degrees and there were girls out in like booty shorts and Ugg boots and parkas. My ass is over there sweating like I stole something. The fuck? So, you know, this is basically where we're at, kids. There is now a website. I just put up the link a little while ago, so if you scroll up, you can see it. With the case file, or at least a good chunk of the case file. This case file is roughly 8,000 pages long, and you can take a look at it. I'm adding new shit to it daily. Jan is fantastic. She's constantly converting shit to PDF for me. It's hilarious. I'm minoring in digital forensic technology, and yet I can't convert a TIFF to a PDF. I make no sense. You can take a look at the case file. By all means, spread the case file around. You know, cite it on social media. Say, what the fuck is this? Get people involved. Spread the PayPal. Let people see. Shit. Flood people with tweets, with messages on Facebook, whatever you got to do, because we need to get exposure on this case. It is a miscarriage of justice to the nth degree. And we need to bring David home. He deserves to be home. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't even know for the first 2 years of his son's life that he had a son. And then he had about 6 months of that, and then he was taken to prison. He missed every part of his son, every part of his family. He has a wife who is just so amazing and so loving, and it kills him that he can't be there for her. It's not fair. And I know that people will say life isn't fair, but the one thing that should be fair is our criminal justice system. And the fact that they didn't even do an attempt at an actual investigation in this case is fucking appalling. It's horrible. It's frightening. David reminds me a lot of my brother. And my brother actually did go to jail at one point for something that he kind of sort of did, but he kind of sort of didn't. He had taken a bunch of kids up to Angel Fire, which is a ski resort near where I live, or where I used to live, where I'm from. And he took them up there in the summer, and he was trying to keep them out of trouble. And a bunch of these kids broke into a liquor store and stole a bunch of liquor. And because my brother was over 21, he was charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and he went to jail for a number of months. And I just remember thinking then how unfair it all was. Just because he was present, he had nothing to do with breaking into the liquor store, but he was charged because he was the adult. And this is the same situation. You know, David had nothing to do with this, but because he happened to bump uglies with Yvonne at one point and conceived a child, that's where they focused their attention. What the fuck is that? Dagan. He gets really excited about boxes. All right, kids. Well, since the questions are dwindling now and we haven't had any movement on the questions front. Okay, here we go. Marissa, this year with MAM and all the wrongful convictions I've seen overturned and the ones that haven't been, I've definitely realized this is an epidemic that could touch anyone, anywhere, in any town in the USA. It's not just in the US. I mean, there's a wrongful conviction I'm looking into in Australia right now. There's several in New Zealand. There's a bunch in fucking England. And it's all over, really. It's an epidemic all over the world. And we can't allow this to continue. If people would, first of all, we need to get rid of the read technique in the US and start using cognitive interviews as opposed to the read technique and questioning people. That right there would solve a lot of these issues. When you add in the fact that a lot of these motherfuckers aren't doing their job. I mean, I could go on and on about what reforms need to be done in all criminal justice systems in order to start stamping out this problem. The problem is that you're always going to have assholes wherever you go. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't do their job or half-asses it or purposely does something wrong just to fuck with people. There's always going to be these situations. What we can do is try to scale it down as much as we possibly can and put in a system of checks and balances that will work so that we can at least cut this down as much as possible. Son's name Negan. No, it's Dagon. D-A-G-O-N. It's the sea demon of Lovecraftian mythos. Also a Sumerian sea demon or a Sumerian god of the underworld or some shit. I don't know. I didn't pick his name. Abby, this case is very new to me, but I think it makes me angrier than Steven's case because he had no criminal history. Exactly. He had. You just saw Dagon. Marissa, there really are cases ever, sadly. So I think the U.S. seems to have the harsh punishments. They do, and I blame that on the whole mandatory minimum bullshit. And the fact that a good majority of our prisons are privatized, which means that the more convictions they have, the more prisons they have to build. And it's all about money. It's all about money. Once we get rid of this whole privatized prison bullshit and people stop making money off of how many fucking convicts we've got behind bars, that will cut down on a lot of this. The issue here is that once the prisons started going privatized, that's when we started seeing a lot of the shit. And let's not forget that this whole war on drugs bullshit, that has caused the crime rate to go up as opposed to down. Although the crime rate in this country, believe it or not, is actually at the lowest that it's ever been. I know that it doesn't seem like that, but it really is. Marissa, I know in Canada our max sentence is normally life 30, which means eligible for parole after 30. Only think I've heard of one case of life without here. In the States, life is actually considered 25 years. But with David, because he's got 25 without parole. Oh, you want a drink? Pink? Come here. Hold on, I have to concentrate. Giving a 2-year-old a drink of water is almost like swimming. Carrie, we have had a few here miscarriages of justice here in the UK, and only 33 get referred to the courts of appeal yearly here in the UK. I actually took a course on the criminal justice system in the UK a few months back, and your court system on a lot of levels is more complicated than ours, but on a lot of levels it's also not nearly as complicated. It's a weird dichotomy we've got going on here. Nicola, the Reed technique is a joke. I watched Brendan's lawyers. They did a conference on it. It is a joke. And even the people who developed the Reed technique will admit that in Brendan's case, it was sorely misused, completely misused. And that's the problem with the Reed technique, is that it's so easy to be misused that it really does need to be thrown out. In the UK, they use something called a cognitive interview. And you can actually, Google it, and it just makes a lot more sense. Marissa, our sentences are served concurrently. I know people who have had life 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 here. It's very case by case, and I appreciate that. And youth offenders max is 10 years for murder. See, in the United States, we have this thing where people under the age of 18 can be charged as an adult. And I do believe in that to a certain degree, because I'm sorry, but even at the age of 9, you understand the seriousness of what you're doing. So depending on the offense, I mean, I know that here we had a 9-year-old little girls, who had stuck needles into the genitalia of their little brother before killing him. And they were like 7 and 8. And in that instance, I don't believe that they really fully grasped what they were doing. But then there was a case of a 10 and 11-year-old who kidnapped a little boy and tortured him, and then put him on some train tracks. And I'm sorry, but in that case, I do believe that charging them as adults is appropriate, because they knew what they were doing. They tortured that poor child. And typically, when you're a child offender, typically your victims will be other children. It's very rare when you hear of a child offender killing an adult. Although here in New Mexico, we recently had an instance of a 14-year-old boy who murdered his whole fucking family. Nicola, our sentences are a piece of piss in the UK. You can kill a child and be out in 8 years. I know! The shit is that all about? Denise, damn it, I had to call Medicare and miss whether or not you saw my comment about Brendan's oral arguments. No, I did see that, Denise. Thank you. Abby, I don't understand why Schimmel continues to appeal Brendan's case on the same old stuff. The judge, I believe, deaf and basically threw out his confession, so what else is there? I think that at this point, he's just circling the wagons. He's trying to... I got nothing. Nicola, our prisoners will only serve a third of their sentence. See, in the United States, typically, if you're going to get out on good behavior, you have to serve a minimum of 2/3 of your sentence, which is just horse shit. I'm sorry, but it is. Laura, our sentencing in the UK is a joke. It's astounding. Murders can be out in 5 years. I know, I know a lot of, my opinion on capital punishment is not a popular one, because I do believe in the death penalty. But that's precisely why we need better systems when it comes to the discovering of, the murderer, or, the investigation of cases overall. Is we need to know that who we're convicting is the actual killer. And I do believe in the death penalty. I don't care who doesn't like it. The fact is you kill me, I kill you back. When we had more capital punishment in the United States, our crime rate was lower than it is now. All this humanity shit, I'm sorry, but at certain points, you have to take humanity and throw it right out the window, because once they do some things, such as, I don't know, beating to death 3 children, Terry Hobbs, maybe, a little bit, their humanity goes right out the window. And I think it's bullshit that they get more consideration of their rights than the victims did. Will, there is not only an issue of wrongful convictions, but the U.S. is one of 4 countries that will kill people who do crimes under 18. That I agree with. I don't believe in the death penalty for offenders under the age of 18. Marissa, it seems like the U.S. doesn't focus on rehabilitation or reintegration into society, which is huge in Canada, and means less people are going to reoffend as they're set up to have a chance of success. That is very true. There doesn't seem to be an emphasis on rehabilitation and reintegration. At this point, it's more about the conviction itself, and it's because of the privatization of our prisons. Abby, I don't understand why allowing a boy to go home to his family is so hard for Schimmel to grasp. Does he get off on this? Does he enjoy stirring the pot for no reason? I think at this point, it's more about damage control than it is about stirring the pot or anything like that. Stacy, out in 5 years for murder unless you're Matt Peterson, aka Charlie Bronson. Yeah, you know, I have a huge issue with our entire criminal justice system here in the United States, and that's why I did the video a few months back on, you know, a brief explanation of our judicial system here in the States, is because I do primarily cover cases here in the States. And I wanted people to be able to kind of get a little bit better of a grasp on what I'm covering. So when I do videos outside of the US on cases from other countries, I'm going to need a crash course in those criminal justice systems, because I know that with regards to the UK, it's pretty much straight across the board. I mean, you know, a lot of countries outside of the US took their cue from the UK on you know, how the court systems and how their political system as a whole is handled. So I understand a little bit of the UK judicial system, just not a lot. Laura, Charles Bronson's case is unbelievable. I haven't looked into all of that stuff yet, so I'll have to take a look. I mean, right now I feel kind of blunt. I'm like, hey, quit talking the language that I don't understand. It's like y'all are speaking Italian or some shit. All right, kids, so it's almost 11:30. I had originally slated this to be until 11 o'clock. Marissa, we don't have the death penalty, and in some cases I think we should have it, but it seems like the U.S., everything is death penalty worthy now, so people are pleading out for life sentences and then recanting. That's the thing, is that you're going to be hard pressed. While the death penalty is legal in the majority of the states here, the thing is that a lot of states have also taken the death penalty off the table. However, you're right. They do often throw out the possibility of the death penalty as a bargaining chip, so that they can use plea deals. And it's total horseshit. It's total bullshit on that. And, you know, I do believe that the death penalty should be allowed, but only in certain instances. And it's really difficult to see where those go. I know that in the UK, the start of the ending of the death penalty came in the 1930s, because there was a man who was hung who later, it was proven, was not guilty of the murder of his wife. It was actually a serial killer. But here in the States, we do still have the death penalty, and I do believe that it does need to be used in some instances. Laura, watch the film Casey. It's a really good reflection of what's happened to Charles. Okay, well, send me the name of that so that I can. Nicola, beware people when mama becomes a lawyer. You know, I just hope that I can be of some kind of assistance. That's really all I want, is just to help people. I believe that everybody. All right, I started getting into the legal system when I was 12. My mother has 2 degrees, one in psychology and one in criminal justice. And when I was 12, she started handing me her criminology textbooks when she was done with the class, and that's when I really fell in love with the law. And it has been a lifelong dream of mine to be an attorney. And it's not for the money, it's not for the notoriety, it's because I don't trust anybody else to handle this. And as I've said, if we don't have David out by the time I get my law degree, I will take that case personally. And I will defend the shit out of him, because he deserves no less than the very best. And I hope that we can get him out before then. I would really love to have David at my graduation from law school, to be honest. But if he's not out yet, I will take that case. And then God fucking help Alliance PD. Nicola, love you too, Nicola. Mwah, darling. I'll see you later. Abby, got to get to work. Thanks for the stream. I look forward to the next one. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Abby. All right, kids. So don't forget to subscribe to me here on YouTube, and don't forget to spread around the information on David, his PayPal, everything. Spread it all around. We need all the help we can get. So thanks, everyone, for being here for this live stream, and we'll see you soon.